100%. So I'll share a story that kind of led me to this journey of rewriting my relationship with shame that has me to where I am today. So when I was 20 and in college, I ended up getting pregnant with my partner at the time, and we were still together. And I chose to have an abortion. And I'm sure, as you can imagine, all the things in the world, like there's a lot of heaviness around abortions. So it was always something that I never thought would happen to me. Like, it's one of those things where you always think it happens to other people, but not you. So when it did, it felt like this dirty secret that I had. And I really kept it hidden from the whole world for a very long time. I only ever told my partner, of course. My parents knew, one of my siblings, and then eventually a couple months later after it, I ended up telling my best friend from high school and her fiance when we were all hanging out. But I didn't even tell my very best friends from college, who I was super close to at that time, like didn't even tell them or anyone else. And the first time that I had told someone beyond that close circle was probably like 2 years later. I was going on a backpacking trip with a friend who I didn't even know that well, because we were originally going to go with a group, but then everyone bailed and it ended up just being us two. So she was like a friend of a friend, and we were driving to our destination, you know, getting to know each other, just talking about life. And she had shared with me that she had had an abortion. And she spoke about it in a way from such acceptance and non-judgment. And being in that safe space with her, like, I felt safe enough to share with her that I had had an abortion too. And inside that conversation, I realized, like, for the first time, how much shame I actually had towards it. Like, you know, you hear people talk about shame in the world and whatever, but it was nothing that I had ever felt connected to, that I was someone who had shame. And I'm sure, you know, there are experiences in life where I felt shame, but I never realized it as such until I was in that conversation with her. And it also just hit me like, oh my God, like, I wonder how many other women have had abortions, and how many other women are hiding their shame around it and are feeling so alone in their experience. And that moment had me realize that I'm actually really normal, and that this isn't like a dirty secret. There's nothing wrong with me. And that that led me on a path of liberating my shame around it. And it led me to this self-inquiry to ask myself, well, what else am I hiding? What else am I ashamed of? Like, what is the impact of carrying this baggage on me? Because I was definitely using it as a weapon against myself. And like, you know, what does it mean about me to have had an abortion and all of that? So yeah, it called me into this journey of looking at my shame, feeling my shame, being honest with myself about my shame. And I ended up going on this like shame liberation binge, and I told many people in my life the things that I was ashamed about, and I shared online the things that I had been ashamed about. And in doing that, it was so freeing, it was so empowering. Like, it no longer was a weight on me anymore. So I think I answered your question. That's one story from my life that kind of led me to how passionate I am about this topic today.
Yeah, definitely.